Now, you've probably had this happen to you where you have a huge amount of data and you want to filter it down, but don't quite know how to do it. Let me show you how to do it in Tableau Desktop. So there's really kind of three main categories when it comes to filtering. The first is your dimensions. Then you have kind of a subset of that, which is continuous dimensions. This is more specifically for dates. Okay. And then the last category is measures. Each one gets filtered differently. So let's start with discrete. So say I have subcategory here, like so, and I want to bring in the sales, like so. All right, so that's my basic visualization. And I'm meeting with a stakeholder and they said, well, we're only interested in, say, these top ones. How do I filter those out? Well, there's actually a number of ways you can do it. Tableau makes it really easy because you can highlight it here, like so. And when you hover over this selection, you're going to see these two buttons. Keep only and exclude. Keep only means only the ones you've selected will remain in the visualization. Essentially, what we're doing is we're doing a quick filter rather than using this section up here instantly, which is the filter section. So if I hover and go keep only, I've kept that. And that's it. That's really how simple it is to filter. And those settings that we've just created quickly are all stored in here. Now, if I did the opposite, okay, I can go, well, these are the ones we don't want to see. Okay, I can hover and go exclude. Okay, now it's brought those bottom ones up. Everything and anything I do when it comes to filtering is going to be stored in here. So let's go ahead and open that up. So if I double click, subcategory, you'll see it's actually been selected here. All the ones that I don't want, they have been excluded. And you can see there's a dashed line next to it. And that is also occurring because of this button here. So basically, the exclude button is turned on. So anything that's selected is excluded. The converse of that is if I untick this, the ticked ones now are the ones being kept. Okay, it's the same. It's just logically the opposite behavior. That's it. Okay, so say you didn't want to do it off the visualization. Let me just get rid of this filter here. Right click, remove. Say you didn't want to do it off the visualization. You can actually drop subcategory directly into filters and build it out from scratch. So subcategory into filters, and you can see we're back in this menu, and you could literally just click or select, deselect whatever ones you want, and go OK. Right? That's the other way. Now, let's cover the second category, which is dates. Now, dates actually comes in two forms. Let me just create a new sheet. It comes in the discrete form. So if we bring in order date into rows, okay, these are discrete values. If I expand this, you're going to see all the different levels of granularity. Okay, this is what's known as a discrete representation. So here I can do what we did before, which is select the ones I want. I can hover, keep only exclude, or I can drop it into filters. Now, when we do that for a date, like so, this dialog box opens, right? This is a little bit different because it's going to ask us what structure of the date are we going to be filtering on, or how we're going to be filtering. What's noticeable here is there are green symbols and there are blue symbols. The blue are discrete. Okay, so we're going to start there. So if I want to filter by year discretely, I'm going to go year, next. And you can see this is showing me the discrete representation of those dates. And I can go OK. Let's say get rid of 2020. OK. So now I have those 3 years. But what if I wanted to filter by quarter? Okay, let's get rid of this. If I drop order date in here in filters, again, we get that same menu. I'm going to go quarters and go next. And so now only quarters is being shown here. So it just depends on which part of the date you want to filter on. Okay, that's your choice. Now, we are now going to talk about continuous dates, and those filter a little bit differently. So say I bring in order date And I'm going to use the right-click drag method. So using the right-click button, I'm going to bring in order date into columns, like so. And I'm going to select this first one up here, right? It is green and it actually says continuous, like so. And I'm going to bring in profit. And basically, I'm just going to demonstrate something for you, which is if I have data that spans over a period of time, if we were doing it discretely and we said we want January filtered out, what that's actually doing is it's taking, this is over several years, it's taking this January, it's taking this January, this one, this one, this one, and filtering out that part. But in continuous, it just continues. It just expands all the way from start to finish. So what we're actually doing is we're setting limits. I want it to go from here to here. I want to keep that cut. So what happens is when we bring in order date into filters and we go range of dates, okay, so you see it's green. The filtering is different, right? You can see the menu's actually changed. Here we can just set the upper and lower limits of those dates. So say I want to bring this in, and I want to close this one in and go apply. It's zoomed in to that section. Okay, so that is one form of continuous filtering. The other is using something called relative dates. Now, relative dates, instead of you explicitly saying it's from here to here, relative dates, if we jump over, okay, is it does it relative to a certain date. Now here it's being anchored relative to today, right? And that's determined by your PC date, or you can give it an actual day. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset this first. So we're just going to go cancel, and I'm going to get rid of this. So we're going to get rid of it just so we're kind of clean. So let's bring in order date again into filters. We're going to select, relative date this time, which is the first option. Okay, we're going to set the anchor not relative to today, because this data set actually finishes, I think, somewhere around November 20th. Okay, mid-November, something like that. So we're going to set this to be November 2020. Let's say 1st of November 2020. Okay, so say that point in time is this one right here. Okay, the relative date would be, I go, well, give me 6 months prior to that. So it's 6 months relative to whatever this date is, right? Which could be, for example, that, maybe more like that chunk of time. The beauty of this is as new data comes in day by day, right? And say that's the industry you're working in where new data is being generated, that window moves along with you so that every time the dashboard loads, it's giving us the latest bit of information. That's the purpose of relative dates, and that it just stays kind of in that window of time, right? And we can observe things as they change. All right, so that is dates and that's discrete. Now let's cover measures. All right, so let's do a new sheet. I'm going to cover measures. So in measures, it's very simple. Okay, so we're going to go into a visualization. Let's bring in subcategory, and we're going to bring in sales. All right, I'm going to expand this, and I'm also going to add the label up here. Okay, so let's add that in. Right, so there's kind of like two subsets of filtering for measures. One is when we're looking at the aggregate itself, like so, we can filter the aggregate itself. Okay, so if I bring in sales into filters, like so, and you can see sum, I go next. What this is doing is it's filtering these aggregates, and these numbers that you see are actually the lowest and highest numbers of that aggregation. So 3024 is right here, and 330,000 is over here. So say I'm only interested in values above 30,000, about there. So what I can do is I can set this one to be 30,000. And when I hit apply, all those smaller ones will disappear, as you can see. Okay, so that is how we do range of values for the aggregation. And if you look at these ones, all they're doing is instead of you setting the limit of both sides, start and finish, it just tells you to set the limit for one side. That's all it's doing. Okay, so there's a number of different ways you can filter within that, and it kind of goes deeper, right? We're not going to go into that. All right, the other part is, let me get rid of summer sales. The other part is to apply row level filtering for these numbers. And in order to demonstrate that, we're going to go up here and we're going to click this button. Okay, it's a very tiny little button. And when I do that, I'm gonna see the underlying data. Okay, essentially what we would see if we opened it up in Microsoft Excel. And I'm gonna look for sales. Okay, so for sales, here we go. This column right here. Now, when I apply row level filtering, before the aggregation occurs, it looks at what the value is at that row. So this one's 262, 732, 15, 958, and so on. So if I want to filter, I'm not interested in any transactions, for example, below $50. Okay, here's how you do row level filtering. I'm going to bring in sales into filters, and instead of selecting an aggregation, which is this one, we're going to select all values. All values and next. And what you'll notice, these limits have now changed. It tells me the lowest value in our data set is $0 and the highest is 22,000 at a row perspective. Okay, so I want to look at anything above $50 like so and hit apply. And when you do that, the aggregations would of course change. And that is it. So that is the fundamental ways of filtering for dimensions, for dates, for measures, and a few variations in between. I teach all of this in crazy detail on my website on Jellyman Education. The link is in the description below. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it solved your problem, and I will see you next time.